I'm fairly used to being disappointed by Roblox events, but this one is more disappointing to me than most. When I first heard that there was going to be a Roblox and NHL collab, I was very excited because I love sports and I love hockey. Believe it or not, a random Roblox YouTuber like myself has actually played a lot of sports in real life, not just on Roblox. But I always enjoy a good game of football fusion or watching some dude get blown up in HHCL hockey because Roblox sports are fun too. So when I first heard that the NHL was coming to Roblox probably last year or so, I was very excited, and yeah, I'm Canadian. I was hearing that there were some potentially poor development choices, but I remained cautiously optimistic. After not hearing much for a few months, leaks began circulating, and then the game was finally opened a few days ago. The NHL released their game called NHL Blast, which was previously named Project Toronto because, of course, it had to be Toronto. The lobby is very busy and kind of poorly laid out, but at least exists, and everything that's necessary is there and works. Unfortunately, there is this jersey booth with some really weirdly shaped clothes that you cannot take off after putting on. But other than that, the lobby is fine and serves its purpose well, unlike other lobbies like that disorienting Samsung game lobby. It's the main part of the game that really baffles me though, and it's not exactly from a player standpoint, but from an NHL marketing standpoint. If you're familiar with the NHL, you may know that their marketing has been horrendous for decades, and here we have another example of that. Instead of making a game that promotes the sport and the NHL, the people behind this decided to make a shooter game. That's right, the NHL has joined Roblox and entered the metaverse by making a hockey-themed shooter game. The game's thumbnail should give you an idea of how this game has turned out. It's a sloppily fast-paced and cramped shooter game where you shoot pucks at opponents and try to score a goal on their net. Basically, you shoot pucks at the other team to tag them out, while you try to get to their spawn and score one goal on their net before respawning. You can shoot 5 or 6 pucks before having to reload, and yes, you have to reload your hockey pucks in an NHL-made game. This is more like an old-school Roblox paintball game, but faster, smaller, and sloppier than it is anything to do with the sport of hockey. This isn't even a good paintball game in my opinion. It's too messy and all over the place for it to be enjoyable for more than 5 minutes. You just go back and forth, achieving hardly anything for like 5 minutes before starting a new round or more likely leaving. The game is absolutely loaded with badges and achievements for any badge hunters and has 2 free prize rewards available. But there isn't much else to it though. It's another relatively uninteresting brand game that doesn't really make much sense. It's super disappointing to me though, but not because the game sucks or whatever, but because it could have actually promoted the sport. Brand games and events being uninteresting snooze fest is nothing new. That is what I've come to expect from all of them. Most of them promote their brand or a certain theme though, and this game made by a brand with notoriously bad marketing doesn't do that. Aside from NHL properties being plastered all over the lobby, there isn't anything promoting the league or the sport of hockey. You aren't playing a hockey game, nor do you test your skills or anything like that. You're playing a shooter with a hockey theme. It's like that VLAN game. It was supposed to be one thing, but ended up being something completely different, just with a certain theme. NHL Blast barely promotes the NHL or hockey at all. It's an early 2010s Roblox paintball game that has a hockey theme. What could have been really cool is if they had actual games running or a skills competition like the NFL's quarterback simulator. Showing off the sport in Roblox would have been a great way to introduce or further promote the NHL and hockey to players. Having shooting, goaltending, hitting, passing, skating, all that kind of stuff would have shown players how exciting hockey can be. Having actual games going on would show players how fun watching and playing games are. Building that initial interest in the sport would only lead to newfound interest and fans of hockey and the NHL. But some people opted to make a random shooter game that has a hockey theme instead of something that promotes the sport and the league. How is something like this supposed to get people interested in a sport and league that are completely different than what's being shown? The only thing that I can see getting players interested in hockey is the goalie mask design station. That is a pretty solid and fun idea. Unfortunately, there's not much else I can see people new to the sport being interested in. The game is mediocre, but I'm disappointed that this does nothing to grow a really fun sport to watch and play that has had issues reaching new audiences. Hopefully more gets added to the game to make it more fun and actually hockey focused instead of it being a bad shooter game.